Very good evening to all of you. Today, 24th of March, is the World TB Day. You know, TB is a very severe, communicable, infectious disease in the world. Therefore, it is very much important, and it is our responsibility also to spread the awareness about the disease so that we may prevent others from getting infected by this disease. So in today's lecture, we are going to discuss that why March 24th is observed as a World Tuberculosis Day, and what is the theme of the World Tuberculosis Day of 2025? What is the intensity and the severity of the disease of tuberculosis? What are the various causes of this disease? From where did this disease originate? And which parts of the body the disease affect? Is there any cure to this disease also? And various measures taken by India to eradicate the tuberculosis disease from our country. So I hope you are all ready to take this session. So please allow me to start today's session. Thank you very much. So, first of all, World Tuberculosis Day is observed on 24th of March every year, and the purpose of this day, that is to spread the awareness about the tuberculosis among the masses. And the theme of this year's World Tuberculosis Day, that is, yes, we can end. Commit, invest, deliver. It means TB is curable, and what is required there, that is the commitment, that is the investment, and that is the adequate delivery. If we are able to do that, we can definitely end the TB, or we can definitely eradicate the TB from the world. So, you know that this day, that is the World Tuberculosis Day, is observed by the WHO. This is basically a public health campaign, and WHO has marked total 11 public health campaigns, and this campaign to eradicate the tuberculosis is one of those 11 public health campaigns. So, why March 24 is observed as the World Tuberculosis Day? Why not any other day? So on this day, you know, the German doctor, Dr. Robert Koch, he made an important announcement of his discovery of the causes of TB in the year 1882. So in the year 1882, the discovery of the causes of tuberculosis was made by Dr. Robert Koch, and he made that announcement on 24th of March 1882. So that is why since then it was thought to observe since 1982, after 100 years of the discovery of its causes. So in 1982, it was thought to commemorate this day as a a day to spread the awareness among the masses about the disease of the tuberculosis. But it took time for taking it the formal shape, and it was in 1997 that first time the official announcement of the World TB Day was made. So the first World TB Day was officially observed in 1997 with the theme Use DOTS more widely. What is DOTS? DOTS means Directly Observed Therapy Short Course. Directly Observed Therapy Short Course. So that is what we mean by the DOTS. So it means that the patients who are infected by this disease are required to be directly and closely observed, and by the close observation and by the direct observation of those patients and by giving them the timely treatment and the adequate doses whatever are required, so that can contribute a lot in the eradication of this disease from the world. So this is what the DOTS say. So the theme of the World TB Day 2025 is Yes, we can end TB, commit, invest, deliver. We have already discussed about it. So now the important point is that how severe this disease is, why WHO has initiated a public health campaign for the eradication of this disease, that is the tuberculosis. I have already told you that tuberculosis is an infectious disease. It is communicable as well. Communicable means it's spread from one person to another. So the point is that according to the WHO statistics, millions of people get affected every year. So millions of people in the world are affected by the TB every year. In 2023, 10.8 million people were affected by this disease, by the tuberculosis or by the germs of the tuberculosis, were infected. Out of which 6 million were men, 3.6 million women, and 1.3 million children were there. And out of the 10.8 million people affected, and even affected earlier also, in 2023, 1.25 million deaths from the tuberculosis took place. So that means we can say that so TB is world's leading cause of death from a single infectious disease. So if we take one single infectious disease that is causing the highest number of deaths in the world, and that single infectious disease causing the highest number of deaths in the world, that is the tuberculosis, that is TB. And as far as the incidence of burden of this disease on India is concerned, approximately 25% of the total cases in the world, those are in India. That means if there are 100 people infected by the tuberculosis germs, so out of those 100 people, 25 people are belonging to India, approximately 25 people. And in 2022, 2.7 million new TB cases were registered in India. So 2.77 million new TB cases were registered in India. And you know, TB is a communicable disease. It spreads from person to person through the air. So just imagine if there are 2.77 million people who are infected by the TB, so how fastly it can spread among the masses of India or among the general population. So therefore, it is a cause of worry, and it requires serious attention to be paid. If it is not checked, if the attention is not paid, if it is not prevented, so the consequences may be very severe. So let us move further. United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 3.3, it is mentioned there that we will end the TB worldwide by 2030. So United Nations Sustainable Development Goal says that we are committed to eradicate the TB from the world by the year 2030. So now about the TB disease or about the cause of the TB disease. So TB is a bacterial disease. So one important thing, it is not a viral disease, it is a bacterial disease which is caused by a bacterium, that is the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. This is the main cause of the TB in the world. And the second bacterium, that is the Mycobacterium bovis. This is the least known cause of the TB in the world. The main cause is the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Mycobacterium tuberculosis is the main reason of the TB worldwide. So that is why our focus usually remain on the Mycobacterium tuberculosis only. So TB is said to have evolved in Africa and most probably in the Horn of Africa. So if we talk about the decision of this disease, it is thought that the origin of TB is from Africa and most probably from the Horn of Africa, though the exact origin point of the TB is not yet known. TB is a communicable disease, as we have discussed earlier. It spreads through air. So when an infected person speaks, spits or sneezes, TB causing bacteria remains in air for few hours after it is released. So let's suppose person X is infected from the disease, that is the TB, and he speaks, he sneezes or he spits, thus causing infection to the other persons. So the parts of the body that are affected by the tuberculosis, that is the lungs, lymph nodes, brain, kidney and spinal cord also. When the TB causing bacteria affects the spinal cord, it is known as the Pott's disease. So Pott's disease is when the spinal cord got inflamed due to the tuberculosis. So that means in severe cases, the disease of the tuberculosis or the TB infection may cause inflammation of brain as well as of spinal cord of a person. So this is a very serious condition. So this is a very serious condition. So there are main two types of the TB. One is the active TB and second is the inactive TB. So active TB, when the TB causing bacterium or bacteria enters into the body of an individual and the immune system of the person is not so, that is known as the active case of TB. On the other hand, If the immune system of an individual is very strong and it inhibits the growth of the TB causing bacteria in individual's body, so then in that case, though a person is having the bacteria in his body, but still the symptoms of the disease would not appear, and that is known as the inactive case of TB. So it may take few days, it may take months, it may take years, or the symptoms of the disease may not appear throughout the entire life of the person. So this is the inactive case. And one third type which I have mentioned here, that is the TB meningitis. TB meningitis is a very severe case of the active TB, when the TB infection affects the brain and the spinal cord of a person. As I told earlier, that in very severe cases, it may lead to the inflammation of the brain or inflammation of the spinal cord, and that may prove fatal also. That may cause the death of the infected person also. So, TB meningitis, it is a very severe form of TB causing inflammation of brain and spine, becomes fatal if left untreated. So that means TB should not be taken lightly. So this infection should be taken very much seriously, and it is the duty of the family members or the close relatives or the friends of a person whom they think has been infected by the TB bacteria. So the person should be carried to the physician or medical personnel, so that the proper testing and the treatment should be given to the person. TB is preventable and curable. Curable means if someone gets the infection from the Mycobacterium tuberculosis, so then there is the treatment. That person can be treated by the medication, and the cure is possible. And the second thing is that TB is preventable. Preventable means a person or an individual can prevent himself from getting infected by the TB causing bacteria. So both the ways are there. One is the cure, second is the prevention. You must have heard about the vaccine also, that is the BCG. So DOTS, because earlier we have talked about the DOTS also. So what is DOTS? DOTS is a TB control strategy where a healthcare worker or trained individual observes a patient taking his or her TB medication to ensure adherence and prevent drug resistance. Okay, usually we see that sometimes it happens that a person is infected from the TB, but he starts the medication, but he doesn't complete the course, or he doesn't take the medicine properly, or he doesn't take the medicine timely. And in that case, the bacteria in his body, you can say, develops the resistance from the TB curing medicines or anti-TB medicines. So in that case, that becomes more complicated and more severe. So therefore, DOTS is a strategy where the healthcare workers or the trained individuals, they observe a patient, that whether the patient is taking the medication properly, whether the patient is taking the medication on time, whether the patient is completing the course of the medicine, so that the bacteria in the body of the person don't develop the resistance from the medicine. So that's the point. And the next thing is India's National TB Elimination Program. What about the India's National TB Elimination Program? So first of all, the government of India committed to end the TB by the year 2025. And apart from that, one World TB Summit was held in Varanasi in the Uttar Pradesh state of India. That is on the TB Day in 2023. That means on 24th of March 2023. And next, India is a signatory to the Gandhinagar Declaration. Gandhinagar is in Gujarat. Gandhinagar Declaration signed in 2023. So it was a joint declaration by the health ministers of the Southeast Asian nations and the WHO Southeast Asian Regional Office. The title of this declaration was Sustain, Accelerate and Innovate to End TB by 2030. So that means in the Gandhinagar Declaration, so India along with other countries has made a commitment to end the TB by 2030 as the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 3.3 also envisions to eradicate the TB from the world by the year 2030. So next, India has also initiated Nikshay Poshan Yojana to provide financial support through the direct benefit transfer for TB patients, launched in 2018. So in the year 2018, Indian government launched a special program, that is the Nikshay Poshan Yojana, through which the financial support was given to the TB patients through the direct benefit transfer so that they may get the proper diet and their immune system may remain healthy to fight with the TB disease. What else India has done? So India's new initiatives include the Pradhan Mantri TB Mukt Abhiyan, launched in 2022. This is another initiative by the government of India. Then incentivizing treatment supporters and ASHA workers, TB Vijetas and Nikshay Sathi, a family caregiver model. That means the persons who are supporting the TB treatment, those persons are required to be incentivized. Incentives should be given to those. And apart from that, the responsibility has been given to ASHA workers also. And TB Vijetas have also been recruited. And then Nikshay Sathi, that is a family caregiver model, has also been introduced in India to eradicate the TB from the country. So as far as the world TB incidence is concerned, so that means this region, if we see, particularly the Southeast Asia, the incidence of the tuberculosis is the highest in this area, and the second highest, that is in the Africa, particularly the southern part of the African continent and the middle part of the African continent also. So this is the region of the world where the incidence of the tuberculosis disease, that is the highest. So then there is the signs and symptoms of the active TB. How can one come to know that the person is infected by the tuberculosis disease? There are certain symptoms. Basically, there are two tests also. once the symptoms appear and an individual go to a medical professional, the medical professional will test whether the person is actually infected from the TB bacteria by conducting either of the two tests. One test is the blood test. Blood test to check the presence of the TB causing bacteria in the body of a person. And the second is the skin test. So in the skin test, what is done? The medical professional will put certain chemicals under the skin of a person, and the person is advised to revisit the medical professional after 1 or 2 days, and then the medical professional will check whether there is any reaction or not. And from that, if he becomes confident to a certain degree, or if he becomes sure to a certain degree that this can be a TB case, then he go for further investigations to confirm that the person has been infected by the TB. So what are the symptoms? Coughing that lasts 3 or more weeks. Then chest pain or pain with breathing or coughing. Then loss of appetite. Then chills, sudden fever. Then unintentional weight loss. Then fatigue. Then night sweats. Then fever. Then coughing up the blood. These are the various symptoms we can say, and from this it can be doubted that a person may be infected from the TB. So next thing is that as we have already discussed that there is two types of tests, and there is the TB vaccine also, which is known as the BCG vaccine. So BCG vaccine is injected. BCG vaccine is injected to a newborn child. To a newborn child to prevent it from the TB infection. If due to any reason a newborn child has not been given the BCG vaccine, so then he can be given the BCG injection up to the age of 5 years, or up to the completion of the age of 5 years. So this is all about the TB, causes of TB, and why 24th March is observed as the World Tuberculosis Day. What are the consequences of the TB, and how the infection spreads from one person to others, and what measures particularly have been taken by India to eradicate the TB from the country, and what are the various tests, what are the various types of the TB meningitis also. We have discussed all these things, and we have seen the severity of the disease also. So it becomes our responsibility to save the planet from this fatal disease, and to spread the awareness to the maximum extent among the masses, to tell them how can they prevent themselves from the spread of the disease or from getting infected. And it is our duty to suggest the TB infected persons also to carry them to the healthcare centers so that the early diagnosis and the early treatment may be given to that person, and in that way we can save the planet from this fatal disease. So this is the reason why the day is, observed, so that maximum number of people may get aware from the consequences of this disease. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this session. All the best. Take care and be a responsible citizen. Thank you.